Douglas Allen Bickford. It is the 22nd of May 2022 at about 8:45 a.m. here, broadcasting live out of my 105-year-old house here in Klamath Falls, Oregon. I am on YouTube and Facebook Live teaching you how to love yourself out of this book right here. Now, I know nobody's going to watch me because I just did a huge post about caffeine, your favorite beverage. Okay. But the truth is exactly what I said it is. Now, if you don't like what I say, you're not watching me live anyway. Okay. Because you don't want to know the truth about what's going inside your head. But the truth is you don't have self-esteem, and it's not even your fault. Okay. I'm teaching you how to love yourself out of this book right here. Her name is Dr. Susanna McMahon. She's a psychiatrist, a counselor, a therapist. She's 73, lives in Madrid, Texas, with her husband. She wrote this book called The Portable Therapist. This book will change your life if you get it and do the concepts, very simple concepts in this book. It will help you, folks. I guarantee it. Then you won't use caffeine anymore, okay? Because you're only using caffeine to make yourself feel better. And caffeine is poison unless you drink decaffeinated. There is no health benefit, no matter what you've been trained to believe, for putting caffeine in your body, okay? Anyway, the book is called The Portable Therapist. She's had thousands of clients. They would hire her as a psychiatrist to fix their unhealthy minds. She knew that they had to attain self-esteem to get a healthy mind, okay? Every lesson in this book talks about how we've been trained and taught not to have self-esteem, self-love, self-confidence. She knew it. Anyway, but here is what self-esteem is. That's the whole reason I am on Facebook, is to teach you what self-esteem is, how to get it, and how to maintain it, okay? It's also known as self-love, self-confidence, self-worth, okay? And you know how you are in a romantic relationship? You get in a romantic relationship, right? And you got that good feeling towards that other person. That person has good feeling towards you, right? Well, that good feeling that you have for that other person when you first get in the relationship is what self-esteem is towards yourself. Dr. Susanna McMahon, a psychiatrist who went to school for 10 years to get her degree in psychology, her doctorate, so she could be a psychiatrist, came up with a way to give her clients self-esteem to themselves, because we can only give ourselves self-esteem. Nobody can give it to you. You have to get it yourself. And here's how she came up with a concept called mirror therapy to give it to her clients, so her clients could give it to themselves. She told them in between their sessions and for the rest of their lives, even after their sessions ended, say 4 things to themselves in the mirror daily instead of criticizing themselves, which is, I love you, I love my inner child, I'm worthy to be loved, I'm worthy to be loved, I am full of goodness, okay? She knew that we had been trained and taught not to love ourselves. And she knew that the only way that she could fix their unhealthy minds is to give them a way to give themselves self-esteem. And that will give you self-esteem if you say it and you keep saying it for the rest of your life, period. And the reason that is because to get self-esteem, those 4 things to yourself in the mirror instantaneously will give you self-esteem. Okay? But to maintain it, you have to say it every day for the rest of your life, literally, to keep it. And then once you get the feeling of having self-esteem, you will gladly say those 4 things to yourself in the mirror. I've been saying it to myself in the mirror well over a year now, and I will continue to do it. I say it more than once, because the more I say it, the more I feel it, the more I believe it. And you can have the same thing too. Okay. And the reason she came up with mirror therapy, because she knows, she's a psychiatrist, she knows how the brain works. She studied it for 10 years to get her degree in psychology. Mirror therapy, the reason it's so powerful and the reason she used it, told her clients to do it, was because we cannot lie to ourselves in the mirror. It's a psychological event. You cannot look dead straight in your eyes and tell yourself a lie, okay? That's why you can get in front of the mirror in the morning or whenever you get in front of the mirror and easily criticize yourself, no matter if you think it or say it, especially when you get older, okay? Because you're not lying to yourself in the mirror, because that's how you feel about yourself inside. And the reason you can't say those 4 things to yourself in the mirror, and you want to call me crazy for telling you that, is because you can't lie to yourself in the mirror. You don't feel good about yourself, so you can't say good things about yourself in the mirror, because you can't lie to yourself in the mirror. Okay? So, the reason that self-esteem is so important to have, okay, is you can't love without it, you can't be loved without it, and you also cannot be content. What content means is you feel good about how, where, and what you are. It's also known as internal peace. There's 10 things that people are using to try to be content. They are drugs, alcohol, and you can include caffeine and nicotine in the drugs part of it, Lord. People, I'm always praying to God, who I call the Great Spirit, so that's why that came out of my mouth, okay? Because I have a strong belief that there's a higher power, a life force that's on the other side, not here. Well, it is here. You just can't see it, okay? But anyway, you can't be content, okay? And the 10 things: drugs, alcohol, sex, television, food, gambling, religion, another person, material possessions, or money. Those are the 10 things that you use to try to be content. And those things will make you content temporarily, but they'll never make you permanently content. There's absolutely only one thing that will. And that's to attain and maintain self-esteem. And those 4 things to yourself in the mirror daily for the rest of your life will give you that. And then you will be content and have eternal peace. Okay. So you can't be content without it. You also can't be loved without it, and you cannot give love. Okay. So what happens with people with no self-esteem? You'll attract somebody just like you. I'm talking about romantic relationships here. Then you'll get involved with somebody that doesn't love themselves. And since you can't love or be loved without self-esteem, the relationship becomes toxic. Okay? Then what happens is all the cheating, the arguments, and the lying, and the calling each other names, all that stuff goes on in toxic relationships, right? Because of all that bad that's happening in that relationship, you'll if you marry them, you'll divorce or you'll split up. And then what'll happen is those two people will blame it all on, they'll go to family and friends, both of them, and they say it's all the other person's fault because it makes you feel good to have somebody on your side. Okay? And then those same two people will go jump in another relationship, whether you wait a little while, without self-esteem, and the exact same thing will happen in that relationship. Okay? Just like happened in the previous one. Okay? Because you went in without self-esteem. That's why I've been married 4 times. They call it relationship hopping. Okay? I've relationship hopped my whole life because I always met somebody that didn't have self-esteem just like me. Okay? And you have been many failed relationships, many failed marriages, because you jumped in without loving yourself first. Because in order to get a healthy relationship, you have to go into that. You have to love yourself before you can ever love anybody else. And we're being trained just the opposite through the media, through the Facebooks, through all the social media, that you have to love somebody before you ever love yourself, and it doesn't work. Okay, it's just part of the training, and that's what she talks about in this book, how we've been trained and taught all wrong. Okay. So there's 3 things that happen because of getting in a relationship without self-esteem with another person that doesn't have it. So you'll divorce because of the toxic relationship. You separate and then jump back in another relationship, and then that one will same thing will happen, right? The second thing is people will stay in toxic relationships forever, okay? Because they don't want to be a failure. They don't want to be shunned by all their family and friends. They're afraid to be alone. They can't be alone, and they have nowhere to go. So they'll stay in it, taking the abuse, abusing each other, that name calling and all that. And you all know what I'm talking about. Grandma and grandpa, the parents, right? Great grandma and grandpa. Oh, that's just the way they are, right? And then all the family, the turns out dysfunctional people that go out to turn out more dysfunctional families. Okay? And then all the bad, because of the relationship, just gets all swept under the rug. The sexual, emotional, and physical abuse that those two dished out to all their family. Okay? All gets swept under the rug. And then never gets talked about. Everybody's in denial of it. Okay? And that's happening majorly. Okay? That kind of thing. A lot of people doing it. Okay, and then the last thing that'll happen is the 2 people that have been in many failed relationships, many failed marriages, just say screw it, and they become alone, and they're just like sit in the house watching television or whatever they do to try to make themselves feel good. Okay, drug, alcohol, use and all that, right? So they just like exit out of life, and then they end up not taking a shower every day and cleaning up. And you can see these people. I see them all the time out and about in Klamath Falls, Oregon. Okay. So without self-esteem, that's the stuff, the 3 things that happen with 2 people that get together without it, right? But the good news is, and there's always a solution with the way my teaching, okay, is the 4 things to yourself in the mirror daily, all participants, no matter whether you're alone out there or not, whether you're in a toxic relationship, whether you're in the middle of one right now, or just a single person, okay, it all can be fixed, and you can become content. So you won't have to use the 10 things anymore to try to make yourself feel good. You'll feel good from inside by attaining self-esteem and maintaining it by the 4 things to yourself in the mirror daily without fail. And then all participants and whatever's going on out there with all of you, get this book, go through the many other concepts in this book that will continue to give you a healthy mind. Okay. And so I am here, CEO and President of Say I Love You in Mirror Productions, Douglas Allen Bickford, to present another lesson out of the book, The Portable Therapist by Dr. Susanna McMahon. And I am her spokesperson now. She is my psychiatrist, and she's my therapist. She fixed my messed up, unhealthy mind, and she can fix yours too. Okay? If you let me into your past all your defense mechanisms that are kicking in, okay, that you don't even know about. Lesson number 6. Why am I afraid? Fear is one of the earliest and most basic emotions. It is necessary for the survival of the species and critical for the survival of the infant. The first fear, fear of abandonment, which is inherent in all humans, is realistic, as the infant will not survive if abandoned. If the infant or young child is not abandoned and if enough security is provided during the vulnerable childhood, the fear of abandonment will usually diminish. Fear of rejection can be considered to be a component of the fear of abandonment. Almost all fears can be related back to the primary fear of non-life or death, which is the outcome of abandonment. Death, fear, abandonment, and rejection are all manifestations of the powerlessness or loss of control. We are afraid of what we cannot control. We are also afraid of what we do not know. How can we control the unknown? Fear is often synonymous with insecurity. How can we feel secure in a world that is out of our control? How can we not be afraid in a world full of pain? Fear is similar to pain. It is part of life. But the fear of fear can result in non-life. The life without risk, explorations without challenges, without spiritual growth. Fear can produce a vicious circle. Loss of security in the world equals fear. Fear equals insecurity within. Insecurity within equals fear of self. Fear of self equals loss of control. Loss of control equals paralyzing fear. Paralyzing fear equals loss of security in the world. Being afraid of being afraid can produce the exact outcome that one was trying to avoid by being afraid in the beginning. Courage is not defined as a lack of fear. Rather, courage means doing something in spite of your fear. It is not courageous to do something that you are not afraid of doing. If we are afraid and still do it, we are doing the hero's task. Paradoxically, the more we do when we are afraid, the less fear we have. And the less we do with our fear, the more power the fear assumes over us. Being afraid is being human. Being afraid does not mean that you are weak or powerless. Your fear is your feeling. Your behavior determines your character. Acknowledge your fear. Accept it without criticism. Be gentle with yourself because you are afraid. And then do what you have to do anyway. Know that going through the fear is the true act of courage, the way of the hero. Whoa! That is a very powerful lesson for you folks. You can all get courage and accept that the world is full of pain, fear, and death isn't coming for sure. Okay. By attaining and maintaining self-esteem, self-love, self-confidence, self-worth, by the 4 things to yourself in the mirror daily, folks, I guarantee you that it will make you feel secure about yourself. Okay. The more you say it, the more you feel it, the more you're going to believe it, folks. Put down your defenses and do it. Okay. That's all I can tell you. I can be your mentor when you go through your change. I can't help you get self-esteem. I can just guide you and direct you how to get it. You have to do it yourself. Okay. Anyway, 458-232-5238. Call me anytime, day or night, when you start going through your change. I'm going to have another lesson for you tomorrow. Isn't it normal to be insecure, jealous, possessive, depressed, or miserable? You all have a great day out there, and I will be talking to you tomorrow.